So another long day of work, but I just wanted to, of course, pop in and update everybody on, of course, the current situation with, of course, Trinity, Rodman, and the NWSL and all this fun stuff. And so they just came out today after a little bit of talk yesterday on the Luke Frias show. They just came out today and said officially that they are voting on a potential way for, since, of course, the NWSLPA went and said the certain things that they did the grievance and all that fun stuff. The NWSL now is taking a vote with the teams to prevent something like the Trinity Rodman situation to happen again, where they would be able to pay their players a significant amount of money over the beautiful and, honestly, now that I say it, terrible salary cap. There should not be a salary cap in the NWSL. That's my take. So there's some positive to this. That means that if Trinity Rodman can get paid, her as much as they were going to offer her and she would accept it and all this, that's going to be huge for players, like I said, of Sam Coffey, Mallory Swanson, Sophia Wilson, to even, of course, Rose Lavelle, maybe getting Lindsay Heaps back into the U.S. potentially. A lot of players that deserve to be paid more than they're getting paid right now in the NWSL. The reason why some players left, that's going to be big. So I look at that to be a massive positive for the NWSL and, of course, for the Trinity Rodman situation moving forward. So it's looking pretty good. So it's been a long day, of course, from just working all that fun stuff, but of course there has been a little bit of news on the Trinity Rodman situation. I've been keeping up with it almost daily to really just continue to figure some things out and to just understand what's been going on and all that fun stuff. And I did some research, and I talked about it a little bit on Wednesday, but not really in depth as much as I want to talk about it in depth like this. It's going to be different parts, but of course, I'll cut this up for Instagram, and then I'll make it a full-length thing for TikTok and all that fun stuff, and YouTube as well, because I think this is worth kind of just mentioning and figuring out and just continuing to talk about it really quickly. So here we go. So, of course, we all know the timeline, but let's just read it out very quickly. October 2025, initial talks, Washington Spirit and Trinity Rodman begin the early negotiations. Spirit signals desire to make Rodman the highest paid NWSL player in history. And then on November 2025, offers escalate. Multiple European clubs express interest. Spirit prepares a backloaded contract structure tied to expected cap growth. December 1st, 2025, agreement in principle. Spirit and Rodman reach framework 4-year deal. Average salary of $1 million. Largest contract in NWSL history. December 3rd, 2025, 2 days later, technically. The league, just the NWSL, the league itself vetoes this. So they vetoed the contract, and that was pretty interesting. The commissioner, Jessica Berman, rejects the deal. Reasons, concerns about cap circumvention and future roster feasibility. December 3rd, 2025, NWSLPA immediately responds. Players' Union files a formal grievance, claims the league violated Rodman's free agency rights under CBA, the controlled bargaining agreement. Then after that, December 4th through the 10th, 2025, negotiations stalemate. Spirit and league hold meetings in attempt to revise structure. Rodman remains unsigned. Overseas interest grows. So Rodman remains unsigned. The overseas interest grows even more. December 11, 2025, roster rule vote prepared. NWSL Board of Governors schedules vote. Possible designed player style mechanism. Additional cap exempt funds for star players. That's where we stand as it right now. Then, interesting enough, ongoing 2026 preseason, uncertain road ahead, grievance moves through league channels, future contract depends on rule change and league approval. Rodman's NWSL future remains unresolved, and that's true. Right now, we don't know where Trinity Rodman will be heading, whether she's staying in the NWSL or moving on. But again, this is massive because it has more implications than just Trinity Rodman herself, because there's so many other players that are going through the same deal in this off-season, with the transfer window literally less than a month away. The international transfer window from Europe, all of that, and so Trinity Rodman, of course, that's going to be a thing. There's a lot of other players, including, like I've mentioned before, none other than the one and only Sophia Wilson. There's going to be multiple other players who will try to do that. We've already seen players leave, so that's going to be one thing to really, really keep an eye on. So the deal from Trinity Rodman, or from the Washington Spirit to be exact, this is the whole reason of why everything kind of hit the fan, hit the ceiling running, hit everything running, to be exact. The offer that set everything in motion, it was going to be for Rodman. The Washington Spirit were going to agree to the framework of a new 4-year deal averaging over $1 million annually, the largest contract in the NWSL has ever seen. But the deal structure was this: a lower base salary in the first year, gradual annual escalators, meaning it's just going to rise every single year, massive increase by years 3 and 4, a design intended to anticipate future jumps in the salary cap. So that's pretty much where things kind of were met. And then, of course, for the Spirit's case was clear. The league was growing, the media rights money was expanding, and keeping one of the biggest stars required bold financial commitment. And it's true, and the Washington Spirit are a team that have that backing. That's the biggest thing. But the unprecedented intervention from the league really set some eyebrows and set a lot of people saying, no, this isn't right. NWSL Commissioner Jessica Berman informed the Spirit the contract would not be approved, citing concerns that the structure amounted to salary cap circumvention. The league argued that paying a player over $1 million per season, particularly in a contract that has not been done yet, backloaded for 4 years, risked breaking the competitive balance the cap was designed to enforce for the first time in league history. An NWSL club had negotiated a contract within what it believed was the cap, only the league to veto it based on the interpretive concerns about the spirit of the rules rather than the letter. The escalation triggered a backlash that would define the weeks to come. It's true. We talked a little bit about the player union strikes back. That was the biggest thing. The NWSL Players Association, the PA, filed a grievance towards Trinity on the Trinity Rodman's behalf. Their argument was, well, pretty simple. Rodman was a free agent with the right to negotiate any contract allowed under the collective bargaining agreement. The Spirit's offer followed the CBA's rules. The league had no authority to override a lawful contract between players and club. The union described a veto as a flagrant violation of players' rights and dangerous precedent that could undermine the free agency across the league. Very true. The union described the veto as a flagrant violation of player rights and a dangerous precedent. Yep. In practical terms, the grievance initiated a multi-step dispute process, opening the door to arbitration, check that, public scrutiny, and the possibility of a ruling that could permanently reshape league management authority. It's true. Then you move on, of course, the risk of losing a star. It's pretty simple, as the Saga escalated. Sources indicated that top clubs in Europe were expressing interest in Rodman and could offer unrestricted cap-free deals. Several high-profile Americans had already transferred abroad in the last 2 years for precisely this reason. That's a key thing to look at. This raised the stakes for the NWSL if the league could not find a way to retain one of its most marketable young stars. What message would that send players across the league? Leave. That's what the message would send, is leave. At best, you're not going to stay here for the money. You're going to stay here for potential stardom, and you're going to be losing money, and you're potentially going to it's not going to be worth it to stay. LA, not going to be making enough. New York, New Jersey, possibly not going to be making enough. So, yeah, leave. Get money elsewhere, because Arsenal, Chelsea, the WSL are 100% willing to pay the players. The NWSL responds once again, and amid mounting public pressure, the NWSL Board of Governors entered emergency discussions about implementing a new roster mechanism, similar to the MLS-designed designated player rule, that would give clubs added funds outside of the salary cap to pay top-end salaries without sacrificing roster depth. That's needed. The vote, if passed, would create a structural path to sign Rodman competitively while protecting the league's stated goal of parity. Yet, even this solution raises new questions. Would the rule apply retroactively to Rodman's rejected deal? Would teams with fewer resources be left behind? Would such a rule fundamentally change the league's identity? And whether or not the rule is implemented, the Rodman case has already forced the NWSL to confront its growing pains head-on. Indeed. I just look at all the stars. I just look at every single star possible. I go back to it. Sophia Wilson with the Portland Thorns. What will she do? She wants more money. She has a kid on the way, or kid basically now, with her husband, of course, Michael Wilson, and then Mallory Swanson, the same deal, the triple espresso right there. And then, of course, you look at Rose Lavelle, how successful she was. She'll want a raise after the championship victory. Emily Sonnet, and of course, she might be on her way out, but still thinking about it. Goes back to a lot of other players that you can really think of and say, yeah, this is necessary. So, very exciting, very interesting to see how this will all play out. The grievance remains active. Rodman remains unsigned. The Spirit League and Union remain locked in a high-stakes negotiation. The Board of Governors is weighing sweeping financial rule changes. Regardless of the outcome, the Rodman saga has exposed a fundamental tension in the NWSL. Can a league built on parity evolve quickly enough to retain global superstars? The story isn't just about one contract, it's about whether the NWSL is prepared for the next era of women's football, and whether the players leading that era will still be here when it arrives. I agree. I just wanted to kind of build everyone on what is going on for the whole entire state of mind. It's exciting. I cannot wait to see what comes up next with this, because again, you're going to be able to sign so many players as long as it's not just for the Trinity Rodman deal. As long as they can implement it into everybody, it's going to be much, much more transparent and good for the league. I can't stress that enough of how good it's going to be if this is all passed and if this is all good for everybody and every single team. Because Utah Royals might struggle, but the rest of the league really, I feel, are in the best shape they've ever been. So that's my stance. What's yours? Comment below.